let's go and get as clear as we can. You go to audition for this band, and they liked you a lot.
What's not to like?
Yes. What was your feeling when they started? Now, because you didn't know them before that, correct?
No, I never met them.
Yeah, so that's what makes this so intriguing to me as a fan, and I hope you guys feel the same way. Bob auditions, you know, obviously Ace gets the gig and they move on, but he kept your number. You guys, once Kiss started taking off, when did you stay in contact with Paul, like monthly, 6 months? I mean, how did your friendship evolve from just being somebody that auditioned for Kiss, because there was a bunch of other guys who auditioned, but there was something special about you? What do you think Paul saw in you, and how did the relationship between you and Paul blossom?
I think Paul and Gene both realized, due to our conversations at the audition, that my influences and what I was into were exactly what they were into. All the bands that I loved, they loved. So I think that, and the fact that I thought that their choice of Ace was perfect for what they were doing. A really excellent player with a really great image and super personality. And I think they felt that the magic was there with him. And maybe I didn't at the time qualify as much on all of those issues, and so I accepted that. But I think the bottom line was that I became their friends. So I would go to see them play. You know, I would go out to Queens, they're playing, we go check it out. And to see the growth of the band, wow, the makeup's looking great. The outfits are looking amazing. The songs are getting better. We became friends, and so they viewed me as somebody who was their equal, because I wasn't in the band. And because I was moving up the ladder myself, they saw me as somebody, this guy's a real musician, and you know, I introduced them to other people. We had a lot in common. We'd go out to eat, we'd go to see bands, we'd wind up at the same shows. So becoming their friend was what made them comfortable to come to me, like for Kiss Alive 2, and say, we need a favor. We need you to be able to do this without blabbing to everybody, guess what I just did? And I respected that, because they were and are my friends. And I can say this, that to be able to go out there as I did on the cruise and sit next to Paul, no rehearsal, no nothing, and to just look at each other and to have that, the memory of all of the time we spent together and all of what I know about him and all of what he knows about me that make us friends, even though we hadn't spoken in a while. We're still friends. We're still best friends. The magic is still there. So I'm kind of lucky in that the gig was really for my brother, as I've said, but that I was able to participate in all these different ways, and now to be able to be in this circumstance is kind of fate. It's kind of something that I can't attribute to anything other than destiny. This is what was supposed to happen.
Well, you kind of answered a question you just answered something I was going to go into next. So now you're hanging out with them, your friends, you've seen some success, you've been touring, and then you get a call to play on Kiss Alive 2. Was there, at that time, was there any, like, you know, he's threatening to leave, or we may need you, or was it, because why did they need you at that time? What do you know?
My understanding of the circumstance was that there was a deadline on this record, and that whatever was going on between Ace and Paul and Gene, I guess, had reached that point where they wanted to make a point to him that he was replaceable. This is my impression of what I got from what it was. You know, bearing in mind that who wouldn't jump at the opportunity? So we'd like you to come down and play on a few of our songs for the record. I don't know. No, I was like, well, sure, when do you need me? What's happening? So that was easy. But, you know, the reality, I think, is that they knew that this would send a message, which it did. And even though it didn't affect the outcome, you know, I was cool with it based upon the fact that I got to play on these songs and felt that I did a really good job, and that, you know, the friendship was cemented further by doing them the favor. We all have to remember, at the time, Eric Clapton played on a Beatles record. Everybody thought it was George Harrison. It was Eric Clapton. So people guesting on other people's records was not unheard of. In this situation, obviously, because it was a real band with makeup and the whole thing, people found out pretty readily that it was Eric Clapton that played on While My Guitar Gently Weeps, whereas people didn't find out that I played on those songs until years and years and years later.
Well, that's something too, because I think all of us here in the audience and myself as a fan, that would have crushed me that I'm playing on this, you know, multi-million-dollar seller and your name's not even on it. Did that bother you?
I never thought of it. What I thought to myself, honestly, was that I had proved the point to myself and to the band. Now you know what Kiss would sound like with Bob Kulick on guitar. That was enough.
Wow, that's a great answer. Because I tell you, you know, side 4 of Kiss Alive 2 is one of my favorite sides of music. I mean, that just crushes all the way around. And, you know, a lot of thanks to you for that. That is just a great, you know, great side of music. Fast forward here. This is a little selfish on my end. How was it like working with Lemmy and Motorhead? Because I'm a big Motorhead fan.
It was an exhilarating experience to work with somebody like Lemmy, may he rest in peace, a dear friend, somebody who always was there for the music, never cared about the money, never cared about the money. All the times that we worked together in any of the projects that we worked on, never asked or cared about the money, only ever cared about the music. There were very few people. I've been around this business, as you all know, and the money is part of it. That's what is a huge part of it, but not to Lemmy. Working with those guys was very challenging. Lemmy himself was extremely opinionated, like me, and the rest of the guys. I got it from Gene and Paul. No, I'm just kidding. That was always me. But the reality was that we made some great music together. The theme for Triple H was one of the greatest things I ever worked on in my life. That Lemmy sang that, "It's time to play the game," that gave everybody chills. And to see, I actually went out and played with them when they did WrestleMania twice. They played the theme, and I was actually, you know, playing behind the curtain to make it sound like what it sounded like, because I was the guitar player that played on the actual recording. And it was so exhilarating to be in a position to play something that you knew was great, that these guys were playing and you were playing along with them. And some of the other stuff that I did with Lemmy, God Save the Queen, for instance, which I had suggested to him. We're looking for a cover song. You singing God Save the Queen would be incredible, you know. God Save the Queen, you know. Next thing I know, it's a video and all of that. He was my lucky charm in a lot of ways. I really loved being around him. He would always talk to me wherever we were. When I first met him, playing those Monsters of Rock shows, when I worked with Meatloaf, he would be on the bill. You know, so it was Iron Maiden or Whitesnake or Deep Purple or somebody, and then you worked your way down, Meatloaf, Motorhead, Mountain, whoever. And we would hang out at those events. He even got up and jammed with us once on stage with Meatloaf. And so, you know, we were really good friends. But I can say this about him, like Gene and Paul, these people live for the music. He lived for rock and roll. He was totally that. Everything about him was that.
Yeah, again, that was my selfish question, because, again, I think nobody exuded rock quite like Lemmy did. He, you know, just an incredible influence.
I mean, even unto the most people would be like, I'm gonna go change into my stage clothes to go on. Lemmy, you gonna change? I'm in my stage clothes.
I remember going to see Motorhead, and he's out in the casino playing, like, yeah. You're going on in 10 minutes, hold on.
Exactly.
Take us up to modern day. What's Bob Kulick up to today?
Bob Kulick's been pretty busy lately.
I love the third person, by the way.
Well, I'm going to be appearing with Gene in Las Vegas when he does the opening for his CD, you know, for the Vault thing. So he's going to have, you know, a big celebration of that. and a party for that. So I'm going to go down there like my brother did and Ace did in Los Angeles. So I'm going to do that. And happy that I have 4 songs on that record written back in the day. You know, so that's a very exciting thing for me. Obviously, now that the Kiss Cruise is going to happen again this year. Thank you. And you guys should thank yourselves, because I think the incredibly positive response that we received, that they know about, I think helped everybody realize that, you know what, this family is a great family. Kiss and the Kulicks, and to add Ace to the bill, I think is what a great show that's going to be. Hopefully we'll get to, you know, mix this up a little bit, and maybe we'll see if Ace can play with us or we can play with. We'll see what happens, but that's going to be great.
Let's face it, there's a lot of anticipation for Kiss Cruise 8, and I know the sale goes on. I think mine's the second week of February, so it's going to be here before you know it. That was one thing I was going to ask you. How much do you know? It sounds like you don't. It sounds like you know as much as we all do. You're up there, you're going to play. We don't know what's going to happen. I think it would be nothing short of magical if you could get Ace to play, and maybe, you know, just a 3-way jam with you guys. I think it would be fantastic. And I know you're up for it. I know you're up for it.
Yeah, it totally makes sense. So hopefully over the next few months, I'd like to do some more stuff with Paul like I did last year. And, you know, obviously maybe we'd get up with Ace's band, or he'd get up with us. We'll see what fate has in store, but I think that would be great for the fans, and we would totally enjoy it. So I think this opens up a lot of possibilities for what could happen. But in answer to your previous question, I'm still promoting my first record, Skeletons in the Closet, which, thank you very much, everybody bought today, and I should have bought more of them, Jesus.
Well, you know, how fast they sold is just a testament, Bob, to, you know, how much we love you.
Thank you so much, thank you so much. You know, this was my first record ever. You know, I played with everybody on the planet, and then finally it's like, okay, so finally now you're going to put out a solo record. My solo record with 23 guest artists.
You know what? What is your favorite session? I mean, that you did for somebody else. What one stands out? Because the one I love All American Man. That's just my personal. That solo is so sweet.
I don't think that it would be fair, nor could I live with seeing the video of me saying only one song. So I'll reference 3 songs.
Yeah, give me a few. That'd be awesome.
Working with Kiss in the studio with the legendary Eddie Kramer, who was the engineer for the Beatles and for Jimi Hendrix and for Led Zeppelin. He's who recorded my guitars on Kiss Alive 2 on Larger Than Life. And I think that was the last song that I played. And by that time, it had gotten to, like, I'm really into this now. So that was one of the greatest sessions, the Larger Than Life session. Gene introducing me to Diana Ross, and being there when we did the solos on Why Do Fools Fall in Love and Mirror Mirror was magical. I'm pinching myself. So here's Gene Simmons standing here. Here's Diana Ross standing here. How are we doing? Everybody's happy. It's just, you know, it was like all of a sudden, what are you doing today? I guess I'm playing with Diana Ross, I guess. That was a magical session because it all happened. The phone call, getting to the studio, same day. Did it all same day, done. And then I guess the third one that I'll mention that was to me a solo that you all mention to me all the time that I guess really was special was The Idol with Blackie Lawless, the W.A.S.P. Record that I did. That song, it gives me chills to hear that, you know, just what I played on that. And I remember him saying to me, because he tried out a few guitar players on this, and I remember him saying to me, you are the perfect guy for this. Where you play in the pocket of this song kills me. You know, and you know, I wound up playing on a few of the other songs, but that song, and I think the reason people respond to that is because it was really heartfelt. When I hear it now, it's not like, I could have done better, I could have done something different. I accept it for what it is. So those 3 solos, I would say.
Okay, I'm gonna go the opposite. What sessions did you do that you're at the, you'll put it this way, have you ever done a session you got done, you're like, I could have done better? Anything stand out for you?
It's always been the case that I always thought about certain things as a producer, yeah, that could have been a little better, or maybe I should have worked on these lyrics with the artist a little more, or whatever it was. But you know, the bad sessions that I had that didn't work out, I buried them so deep in my mind. And